Hello, my name is Erica Murunchi and welcome back to Be Inspired by Erica. Hope you're fine. So today I want to talk about meaningful friendships. Friendships are important to us because they help us relate with others. For example, family, cousins, and friends at school, and many others. How do you make those friendships meaningful? Surround yourself with people who inspire, uplift, and support you. Meaningful friendships are a treasure, and having them in your life can bring joy. Invest in friendships that nourish your mind, heart, and soul. Remember, meaningful friendships are a two-way street. Be willing to show up, listen, and support, and you'll find that that same love and support you gave will come back to you. Stay blessed. Much love.
Youth of Purpose. Youth of Purpose. Youth of Purpose. Youth of Purpose. Youth of Purpose.
24 television and conversations around if the environment is safe for them, but also what do we do to make their spaces even much more better and appealing. And of course, aware to the fact that we've been running under the sub-theme of Give to Gain, but also rights, justice, and action for all young girls and women in Uganda, but also across the world. Today we ask, is the environment safe? How far can we achieve with this 1 month celebration? But also, shouldn't International Day or shouldn't every day be a day to celebrate women and ensure that we make progress towards their sustainability? Tracy-Lynn Ankunda and you are welcome to Youth of Purpose right here on U24 Television. As usual, I am not alone. I do have a team of two women or young girls and one gentleman who has been very passionate about the women's cause, but also ensuring that he is one that supports women and young girls all the way from Bududa. I do have with me Sisi Nafula, who is the Youth Councillor, female-elect for Namayingo District, all the way from Eastern Uganda. I do have with me Wamakota Alex, who is the Secretary for Finance under the National Youth Council, representing young people of Bududa District. I equally do have with me Sarah Achemo. I don't know if it is Achemo or Akemo, but I always pronounce it in whichever format. And she is the Secretary for Female Affairs, all the way from Soroti City. Today, I actually realize that I have guests from the Eastern. So I hope Eastern today is your time to shine and get represented. But just briefly, in less than a minute, let me allow you to say hello to our viewers and then we get it started. And I'll start with you, Sarah.
Thank you so much, Tracy-Lynn. Good evening to you, Tracy-Lynn, my fellow panelists here and the viewers out there. First of all, very happy to be here. My name is Sarah Achemo. I am a student at Cavendish University, Uganda. Currently, I'm pursuing my bachelor's degree in law. While there, I serve as the president of the Rotary Club of the university, but also by God's grace, I serve as the Secretary of Female Youth of Soroti City. Most importantly, I needed to let you know that I am a member of the Girls and Mentorship Space, a safe space for girls where we promote each girl's striving. We are basically each other's keeper. So yeah, happy to be here.
Thank you, Sarah, for joining us. Alex, say hello to our viewers.
Thank you. Hello to our viewers out there. My name is Alex Wamakota. I'm the Finance Secretary for Bududa District Youth Council, and I'm glad to be on this panel as we wind up the Women Month. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Alex, for joining us, and we are happy and appreciate the amazing work that you continue to do to support women and youth of this country. Next to Alex is Sisi. Sisi, say hello to our listeners and our viewers.
Hello viewers, my name is Sisi Nafula, Female Youth Councillor elect Namayingo District, who is also the serving Speaker of Banda Sub-County Namayingo District. I've been here several times. I really hope the viewers that have always followed this TV and followed our deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sisi, for joining us tonight. We also inform you that we are running live on YouTube, so feel free to share your conversation, and we shall be able to read them out right here. Talking about rights, talking about justice, talking about action. Conversations around so many issues that continue to challenge women to take on spaces, but also to be part of such conversations are long time due. And today we want to assess or see how far we have gone for the different international days that we've had in the past, but also from the struggle of even women's rights to vote to where we are today, having a representation of a certain number. And I'll get to you, Sisi. As a lawyer, as a youth leader, as a counselor who has been in these spaces, but also who has worked under the clinical legal aid, what is the status like for women's participation in terms of how their rights are appreciated?
All right, thank you so much, Treslin. You know that Women's Month is ending and there is a lot to discuss about women. First, I'll start with a scenario. You know, we have had very many celebrations across the country celebrating women at district level, at sub-county levels, and I've had a privilege of attending a few of these celebrations. And it's so, should I call it surprising, nice, or at times even annoying, how you will meet women and they are very happy about the status quo of women in the country right now. Women are discussing things of power. We now have power. We now, you know, but when you sit down and really assess the level of power they are talking about, are they able to use the power they are talking about? You realize that most of these that we are happy about are actually not what you should be happy about. Because we have so many women that have been put in places of power, but they are not able to speak the power they have been put into. And it is when you talk about the rights, justice, and so on, yes, I was with Legal Aid, and I thank LDC for the opportunity to be with Legal Aid at some point. I offered a service, and the service I offered was in Namaingo district, where I come from. We realize that the justice system is, yes, so far so good. We have moved at least a step because there are women who are able to access justice. But then this access to justice gets to, it starts with the knowledge. Do they know that there is actually justice for women? Also, do they know their rights as women? Because you know, most of these things, when we speak about them, I always be like, these are Kampala conversations. Because here in Kampala, we can talk of justice, we can talk of rights, we can talk of these things, and we are so free because it is a society that is a mixture of elites and also the ones that are illiterate. Okay, they have maybe enter the money economy and also they can get into the elite spaces and speak something. But then when we get to our rural spaces, where we come from, in places like Namaingo, where I come from, they are still affected by patriarchy. And when you start speaking about justice for women, before you explain yourself too much, you are seen as someone who is, should I say, inciting violence in women? Yes, because those are some of the barriers that we're having as of now. Like women, most especially those in rural areas, they cannot access justice even when the accessibility is getting closer. Like in these districts right now, I'm happy in Namaingo district, we even have a feeder office. The Embassy of Iceland actually extended feeder services to Namaingo. But you realize that women are not going to this office. And yet they have very many cases of gender-based violence. They have, like, there are very many reasons as to why they should access these services, but they are scared of accessing the service because when they go there, they are scared of what will be said in a community when you have now taken maybe your husband or whatever, because of course in our communities, most people are not husbands, they are boyfriends. Yes, and I know you know that. And this is part of most of the, should I say, the things that have made rights almost impossible. Because we look at women are living in states where they don't even know where they are. You meet a circle. Last week I was in a meeting of over 30 women, and there is this person that asked, how many of you are married? Like, we're around 30, but around 29 hands were up. Of course, there is that one hand that was down. And they said, why is your hand down? I said, my hand is down because I know what is marriage in Uganda. So I was like, okay, explain to us, what do you understand as marriage? I explained the concept of marriage in accordance to the law. And then they said, now, after that explanation, how many of you are married? We only had 2 hands up. So we realized that out of the 29 whose hands were up at first, 27 are actually boyfriend and girlfriend. So they are living in houses with roommates who they think they are husbands. And you know where this gets to. They don't have economic rights just in case something happens. They don't have, like, you don't have a claim, you know? And we are not just speaking about claims, but then the background of this story is the rights. In case anything happens, could you access justice? And if you're going to access justice, then you're going to access it as who? As a roommate? A former roommate, you know? Because maybe someone has passed on, maybe things have happened, and now you're broken up. So yes, you're now in court as a former roommate.
Okay,
so,
let me cut you short there. I'll get back to you.
Thank you.
Getting to you, Alex. The UN report and states that 351 million young girls and women are more likely to even get to the worst level of poverty by 2030, according to the achievements that we intend to have under the Sustainable Development Goals. But also alive to the fact that if we do not put in much more efforts in regards to economic empowerment, financial empowerment, and all those other discriminations that do happen. And I understand from a fact that Bududa is one of those areas that has continued to have more challenges compared to other areas. The status of women's economic empowerment in Bududa, but also young girls and how it affects them. What is your comment on that? And how do you think this can be made more friendlier for them to have safe spaces?
Thank you for that question. First of all, I want to say I'm not going to specifically speak for Bududa because I've gotten an opportunity to move to different parts of this country. But then also, she knows recently the young people of Eastern Uganda said you could lead our caucus. So I've been in all these districts.
Yes.
But our differences, our challenges don't differ that much. You know, the challenges in Namayingo and then Bushenya and Bududa, the difference is not that big. So
when you talk about Bushenyi, for example, and when I juxtapose it with Namayingo, Namayingo has some of the island areas. And so the challenges that women do face geographically around the island could somehow differ from what a young girl in Ruhumro, deep down in Bushenyi, is likely to face. Yes.
Yeah, they could differ slightly, but I know there are those common ones, of course, that are still holding all of us behind. Now, as we wind up the Women Month, I would first of all argue that we are not just ending a month of talking about women. We are maybe simply having this month to celebrate them, but the talk of having women live from the other generation that they were to one that we want to see them keeps moving on throughout the whole year. Now, why women? Why the UN report will give you these figures of women being disadvantaged in different fields is because generally, naturally, women are born disadvantaged in some way or the other. So in these districts where we come from, for instance, in Bududa where I come from, I want us to first go back to the topic that we are discussing about the rights of these women. But then, do they know their rights in the first place? Because these are young girls that are facing injustices, but they don't even understand that they're having an injustice in the first place. So they will not understand that they need to get justice for whatever they are going through. Recently, I was giving an example on a certain show I was on that she comes from Namayingo, and these things are common in Eastern Uganda. I don't know how they are in Western Uganda, but we get young girls get pregnant below the age of 18. 16, 17, even 15. And their parents the parent of the boy gets to meet the parent of the girl. Literally, this is supposed to be a criminal case. But the parent of the boy talks to the parent of the girl, and there's some payment, let's say some 2 million, and the case ends there. And this girl has stepped out of school. She cannot be in school for the 9 months. She doesn't know that she can get justice. When they produce, their parents no longer see them as girls that can come out of that problem they have been in, perhaps. So they ask them to go and get married off. So at 16, someone is going into marriage. Literally, this person has started a continuation of a poverty line in their family. Because they are not going to be the same with the Tresilin who was going to Makerere University Law School and graduated, who understands her rights and she knows what to do. She knows how to empower herself. So this discussion of how we can pull women from where they are to where we want to see them, I feel like the best solution is we need to now leave the cities where there is a Tresilin who knows her right, and we go down in Bududa and get to teach these young girls of what they can do, their rights. We have girls that are being raped and they don't even know where they can get justice or not. So let us help them first understand their rights. When they understand their rights, they'll know that they have to get justice at a certain place. Then, of course, there are those loopholes where they have to get justice, but let's first make them in the process of getting to know their right and where to get the justice. When there is any politics that is played where they get the justice from, then for us who have gotten a chance to be exposed, we can start from there.
Interesting. Thank you so much, and you bring it out well. As I get to you, Sarah, Wamakota mentions that women in rural areas face quite a number of challenges. And on the other note, women who have had the chance to go to school, it's not that they are all safe. They're just experiencing the same things in a more different or even modernized version. That if you are a doctor, if you are a professor, and you're earning money, when you report back home, you should be able to give the money to your husband. But also the conversations around power. Power in form of financial capacity, but also power in terms of authority over another. As a young person who has done more work with Rotaract, as a young person who has been in school, but also as a young person who has been within institutions like UNSA and now transitioning to National Youth Council, how best do you think we can deconstruct power, but also culture? Because what Wamakota states is that sometimes people think it is okay. So how do we then leverage on culture that is in a way hindering to now be part of the solution?
Thank you very much, Tracy, for that question. It is very true, especially coming from the fact that Uganda is a patriarchal society, that even when a girl like you, a girl like myself, study up to the highest of the levels, there are still those challenges, those cultural beliefs that tend to pull us back. So for me, what I would really think is that we need to have more of communication both between the female gender and the male gender. I believe when we have these open conversations with both these parties, they're all going to be able to understand that, look, in as much as, yes, you are the man, yes, you are the lady, but there are certain things that we can actually compromise on for the betterment of both of us. You get? So for me, I think it comes down to having very many open conversations that we shouldn't really shy away from. Because if we do not do that, you're going to find that, like for example, recently there are a lot of breakups, a lot of broken families, a lot of failed marriages, and all that come from the fact that we are empowering the ladies, they're accessing this education, and then the men are not accepting to deal with the reality on ground. They still want to have that authority, you know, that the controlling bit of it. So it comes down to having these open conversations with both the girls, that as we are empowering these girls, let us also have the conversation with the boys that it is okay. You can actually still coexist even while the other person is as well rising, you get. So a lot of men mentorship, I want to call it series or seminars could actually be organized to work out this. So for me, I really think it all comes down to communication, mentorship, talk to them, and, you know, let them know that by virtue of the fact that this person is getting is rising, does not mean that they are pulling you down in terms of authority, but rather they're actually coming on ground to support you. You know, when you have an empowered person by your side, you are also going to be supported in one way or the other. So yeah, so for me, that's what I really think.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for that. As I get back to you, Sisi, you are a leader, a youth leader particularly, but also a woman.
Yes.
I would like you to shed more light on Uganda, alive to the fact that we have had affirmative action positions. We have had, when you go on your village, you have a secretary for female affairs. When you go to your parish, but even when you go to the council, you have a woman representative councillor, to the sub-county, from sub-county to the district, but also you have a woman member of parliament and so many others. Now you have a female councillor like you are. How do we tap into the platforms that you people have taken on to be able to disseminate this information and create awareness or civic engagement in terms of making people alive to the fact that actually this and this is your right, and this is how you can achieve it in case it is being violated?
Thank you so much, Cheslin. Only that the question is so long. All right, now I have to patch the bits and get to where I want
so basically, your comment on the role of the office that you hold and how you intend to use it. Yes,
exactly. Thank you so much. Now with affirmative action, this Uganda is a very good country. Like, there are offers you'll just get because you're a woman, you know? And of course they come with their challenges that you know, because you have been in these spaces. And people out there that have been in these spaces understand the challenging bit of this affirmative action. But for today, since it's a Women's Month, I will appreciate whoever thought of us, the women who were extraordinary, the likes of Honorable Miriam Matembe, Honorable Kadaga, and so many others who are the reason as to why we women can now speak up and, you know, in councils, in parliament, and whatsoever we are up there. So how do we use these positions that we have now got almost on a silver plate to advocate for the rights of women?
When you say silver plate, but continue.
Of course, I knew you would comment. It's not more like silver plate, but in one way or the other, given the patriarchal society that we are coming from, it appears like silver plate. Because why do I at times call it that? Because when you get to these councils, think of your... Actually, Bushenyi is a different story, and I'm very happy about Bushenyi. And the day they elected, I felt like calling myself with this origin of I'm from Namayengo stroke Bushenyi, because when I saw the day they elected National Youth Council at district level, I saw a picture of the council of Bushenyi, and it had 3 males.
It has 2 males.
It has 2 males
and 7
females. Oh my God! Congratulations to Bushenyi. In Namayengo, let me tell you. All right, yes, there are 2. At least, yes, there is an achievement. 2 or 3 at district level. But for the sub-counties, I think these people were told that when you have the secretary of female youth, it should be the only position for females. And now you get to the other side of the NRM, where we have the league, where we do not have a specific position for females. I know you know, in Namayengo, there are only 2 girls that got it to sub-county level, and that is me and Irene. And you can check the level of extraordinariness that we had to exhibit to get there. Because these are positions that whenever it is left for all, it takes a lot of courage to fight to get there. But now that's why I say the ones that have been labeled female, it is more like the government helped us to at least prepare the plate for
So now how do we leverage on your position?
Yes, how do we leverage on these positions? One, I think it gets back to electing people that are willing to speak up for these special interest groups, more so the women. Like when we are electing the people in positions of female youth councillor, woman councillor, do they know the rights of women? Do they know about Article 33? Do they know about women having economic rights? Do they understand our history of patriarchy and how we got here? So in my opinion, it would get back to now the people that are electing us in these positions to choose someone that understands why there is this affirmative action in the first place. Because it is not just a bed of roses that you're coming. There are women who fought for this thing and their entire life was labeled by this fight. So now that their entire life was labeled by it, can we stand by it? Can we have this thing of, you make it appear like actually women can serve better and they got here because they deserve it. So it is about women that are in these positions like us, me Nafula Sisi, understanding that I was voted to the district council as female youth councillor. So I have a duty to speak up for all people, but more so the females. When we are passing policies and maybe there is a policy that should pass at district level, have they included the women? Are the youth included? Because I know that being a woman and coming into a position to the district because I'm coming because of affirmative action, am I able to speak for the reason as to why affirmative action came? Understand the economic rights of women, understand like in the labor world, are there, when they are thinking of spaces, let me say they are building let me say education building at your district, you that is representing the women, have you thought of nursing rooms? Have you discussed them in your council? So it gets back to women that are in positions of leadership being able to represent the voices of other women out there.
Thank you. Let me cut you off there.
Thank you.
Getting to you, Alex, I want you to give some of the recommendations that you think women or business ventures could be able to take in as we look forward empowering young women but also men financially. Just 2 comments on the role of boy child, on the role of men towards advancing gender equality. By gender equality, I don't just mean women alone, but I mean playing a neutral role or a vice versa role. And then I understand you do sell jazzes. What are some of those other initiatives that as young people we can be able to venture in to have that financial independence?
Thank you. First of all, besides being a politician or being a businessman, I also did business as a course. And now the challenge is in business, we don't discuss affirmative action because it's about what you can do at the moment. However, when you want to bring about the issue of women in business, there are so many young girls that I personally know that have done extremely so good in the business area. So business is, it's like a talent, it's like an inborn issue or something that you can build on for some time. There are organizations, you know, that are teaching entrepreneurs. Recently, the chairperson of the National Youth Council was recommending me some. So this is a passion that themselves as women have to, you know, pick and build on. But before we even get into there of what women can do and so on, there's a little comment I want to make on the previous question you asked my sister about the people that are occupying these affirmative action offices. Besides the NRM, I don't want to comment about NRM because I'm a member of NRM. They'll say I'm biased, but one of the best political parties to me to exist in this country was the Democratic Party. Why I say that is because it had a continuation. It had a continuation plan with the Uganda Young Democrats that keeps on building leaders. That it doesn't stop with you who is in office at that moment or that member of parliament, but who are you bringing to replace you and what are you doing about it? And it was very pertinent about that. Most of the young leaders that I know on the scene today are products of the UID. So the women currently in their affirmative action positions, I want to appreciate you, Treslin. I've always seen you with your current student affairs as a former student affairs. So you challenge her to make sure she's not doing any less than what you're doing, or she either does more. I'm always in touch with my, predecessor, Mr. Matanda Abubeka, because I never at a certain time want to look like I've brought a joke in the office of the Secretary for Finance, because he did extremely well. So the people that are holding the affirmative action offices, the women members of parliament, the female youth councillors, what are they doing? Are they trying to groom more girls to take these spaces? Because when you groom a girl to live beyond that life of Bududa, her joining the business venture is automatic, because they have to sustain that life. So that is when they reach a point and they be like, I'm getting done with campus, and then what am I going to do? They start taking applications here and there. When some of the applications fail, that's when they, think about, let me do this. Most of us that are in business, we're not initially interested in business. We all thought we were going to study and then get a job in government. Then as you're a good minister in Makerere, for my story, you realize you're getting done with the course, you've had a certain life that students know you with, and you're not going to go back to the other life. So you feel like you need a sustainability plan. You venture into a business of your passion. So we just need you people who are in affirmative action positions, empower more girls. When they reach to your level, them joining these business ventures is going to be an automatic issue, because they have to sustain that life. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alex, for that. As I get back to you, Sarah, as a leader, but also as a young girl, how do we make rights more appreciated in courts of law, but also what way forward? We're discussing women are failing on this, women are failing on that, etc. Should we just sit and keep lamenting, or are there options or suggestions that you think could make work easier for these spaces?
Thank you, Tracy. I think if there is one thing I'm particularly appreciative of, first of all, before even I go there, is that our country has actually looked into the issue of women seriously. And if you look into our legal framework, we have so many laws that have been passed by the Parliament of Uganda to see that the women issues are handled, the women are supported, the women agenda is promoted, and I mean, we are really grateful for that. So I think in terms of the legal framework, we have it all. So I think the question then goes back to how then are we able to have these laws that have been passed appreciated by the people. You do realize that my knowledge probably of the law currently is not the knowledge of somebody, a woman deep down in Soroti City. Some women actually up until this point are not even aware that they can actually succeed their husbands, their family property, should their husbands demise. They are not actually aware that we have a succession act or law that has been passed, which has been passed by the Parliament. So I think it all goes down to us who are empowered, who have knowledge of this, to go back to our people. And most of these people are actually in the village setting of the country. We have to get out of this comfort zone that we are giving ourselves within the city and take this knowledge and share it with the people, the masses, the women in our villages, and empower them with this information. Because I believe that only then can they actually be able to utilize the facilities such as the courts of law that have been put in to fight some of these injustices.
Thank you. Ceci, let me get to you. Sustainable Development Goal number 17 highlights the need for partnerships and collaboration. Which entities do we need to call out for? How do we partner with who and when?
Thank you so much. That gets back to women forming coalitions that would impact women. Which organizations can we partner with? Of course, there are organizations like the UN Women. We have organizations like UNAID, Uganda Women's Association, something. Then we have FIDA. Like, there are so many organizations that are up there speaking about women, that are passionate about elevating the status of women, fighting for the rights of women, starting from social to economic, to all these, whatever you'd speak about women. So it's a call to women out there to look out for what can you partner with, what is in your reach in your community. Because as I said, in my community, in Namayengo, at least we are lucky, we now have feeder. So women can access anything concerning women at feeder offices. And then there are those whose districts, most of the districts in the north, they also have feeder offices. There are those that are having UNET, there are offices that are having, like, there are so many things that we can collaborate with in order to further the voice of women in our communities, and more so also to partner with policy makers. This goes back to our sub-counties, our districts, and also knowing your MPs and furthering the agenda of women through our MPs, because the laws that affect women in employment, in like everything, because we know in Uganda there is a law affecting everything, but in every law that affects everything, in the end of it all, there is a way it affects the women. So it is important that we partner with these people who are in positions of lawmaking to understand that when they are making the law, when they are discussing it, they should make sure that the rights of women are catered for in whatever sphere it is. Those are the key partners, because whatever affects women starts with a policy. So if the policies can be made right, then the laws will be made in a right way, and will be able to cater for the women in whatever sphere of life it is.
Thank you, Sisi. Alex, what needs to be done in your view?
In my view, I've always said we need to walk the talk. I think simply as that we have these platforms, we may have discussions around what we think we can do, and then we go back to our comfort zones. Then the other specific thing is the people that are affected by the things we talk about in these spaces are not in these cities. They are not in Kampala. If we go to...
I think when you say they are not in Kampala, and we have women in slum areas, we have women in Bikubo down there, they're equally facing the same.
Yes, they are, but we also need to understand how far this fight for women has come from. So if there are people who are still living in the 1995 era of the women right, then I feel like they need much more attention. I am glad, I'm always proud that I come from Bugisu, from which the Speaker of the Parliament that passed most of these laws that women are enjoying came from. So I know these things can be implemented furthermore. There are women in Kampala, there are women in slums, there are women in Bikubo. I work from downtown. I know exactly what women are going through. But a woman in Bundavujo, a woman in Bududa, in Katakwi, might be experiencing the challenges the woman in Kampala experienced in 1995. So let's spread and first be on the same page. Otherwise, they will feel like if we join them we ask them to join the fight, they will feel like they are fighting for those who are here.
Thank you, Sarah. Your parting shots.
I think my parting shots one, let's all acknowledge that we have the laws in the country. The laws that are pro-women, they have been passed time and again, and they're there. You, me, Sisi are all with the current offices of leadership that we are holding as a result of affirmative action. And those are part of the laws, part of the benefits of the laws that were passed some time back. But my parting shots would really be that, one, I just want to urge the male gender to hold us. We are not fighting them. We are basically here to support. I want to borrow from the words of one leader that I love so much, and I listen to her so much, Mama Miriam Matembe. I read her book. There is a book that she wrote, Woman in the Eyes of God. She did mention that for a woman, God created her for a purpose, and God was very, very careful when he was creating her, and he was very careful of the part that he was choosing to create this woman. She said in that book that God did not pick out a bone from the back because he did not want the woman to be at the back of the man. She also mentioned that God did not pick any part of the man from the front because she did not want the woman to be in front of the man. But God was careful enough to choose the rib, which is at the side of the man. So in her communication, she mentioned that God's understanding of all this was that he wanted the woman and the man to be side by side and complement each other. So basically, what I'm trying to drive here is that we can all complement each other and bring out the better version of each other, because I believe only then shall we actually be having a good society. A happy man, a happy woman, a good society. So yeah, that's really my parting shot.
Thank you so much. Alex, your parting shots.
My parting shots, I want to say that it's not necessarily that all the challenges women are facing are because of men. We have sisters, we have mothers, we have people where I have a girl I like, I am supportive to her dreams. The only issue is, I think I would buy her idea is, let's have men join this fight. Let's not make men hate this fight. Yeah, so as simple as that.
Thank you. Sissy, woman for woman, comment on that and give your parting shots.
Woman for woman, yes, it's an encouragement to all women out there to stand with the women, because there are women in positions of honor that are dragging women down instead of lifting them up. Wamakota said something about women like women in affirmative action helping others to raise up. And surely I would also emphasize that it's important that when you're holding this place of affirmative action, be looking at who should come next. Try to mentor them into being the woman that maybe you have been, or even better, or the woman you have actually failed to be after being given a position of affirmative action in almost a silver plate. Because there are so many women out there who have got these positions, gone to councils or even parliament, and in the 5 years they said nothing. And in the end of it all, you're like, check, position wasted. Maybe it would be better if it had been given to someone who would say something. And maybe
it's not about saying something.
No, it's not about saying something, but in most cases, when you say something, you'll either be corrected or be made better, other than going to parliament or even...
There is a member of parliament who, I don't want to be specific, you might target the person, but who stood on the floor and made a comment on a certain conversation, and that really affected women more. But she spoiled everything, so should it be about that I'm able to say something?
No, it's not just about ability. So, and it gets back to we who are voting. Like, scrutinize these people. I like the voting that we had in school.
How are we going to scrutinize when we are looking for 1K for lunch?
Okay, maybe that's the problem, economic empowerment. Like, we are looking for 1K for lunch, and in the end of it all, we are voting trash. Because for sure, why are we voting someone who will only wait to say yes or no when there is something to vote about? Because policies are passing and they don't even know what the policy is about. There is something to be read and they have never read. They are simply waiting to see how many people are voting yes so that I join them or no. It should get back to we the voters. But even if we talk to the voters, they don't hear the Baganda say, all right, thank you so much.
I think on her issue, women who are in offices that are there by affirmative action, if I'm to pose a question on this panel, if I ask you to tell me members of parliament, female members of parliament, whether constituency or woman MP, that are doing something to impact women directly, I don't think you'll read more than 30. But there is a minimum of 146 female members of parliament. So let it start with, let it be seen like, yes, they're up there for that fight.
Thank you so much, Alex. The one for members of parliament is not just about women. We know men who have also never said anything. And when the list of worst performing MPs comes out, if there are 5, you will see 4 men and 1 female. So that one, I think it's simply personality. But yes, women should play a big role in making sure they mentor someone and also do something well. My parting shots, male engagements are key to this fight of elevating women. We should get men to understanding that the fight of helping women is simply a fight of equity not actually equality. Because we cannot be equal. We were never made to be equal in the first place. The fight is a fight of equity. There is this person that is spending 7 days, maybe having periods and something like that. So it is simply a matter of looking at how do we try to balance and make them also feel good after losing 3 days when they were in the administration and they had cramps and they could not go to school. That is why we brought the 1.5 as a form of equity. So the fight should get to engaging the males and let them understand the point of view in which we are seeing this thing. It is a fight of equity and not equality. So let's try to engage men, come on the fight, and also focus on helping women get economically empowered, because an empowered woman has a voice.
Thank you. When you highlight and say equity, I still insist that equality is also key. We still have women who are paid less for the same work as they're doing with men. Is that equity or equality? But thank you so much. When you look at the African Union Agenda 2063, particularly Aspiration 6, highlighting the need for gender equality, also
Youth of purpose. 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 Youth of purpose.